Welcome to the Freedom Founder Podcast. I'm your host, Zach Duggar. Now, have you ever thought that being a millionaire was out of your reach? Have you ever thought that that wasn't an option for you? Well, I'm here to tell you that there are ways to become that in your lifetime as well. And I'm together with Nicky, who has worked with people on multiplying their income and their businesses over time with proven strategies. Now, I wanted to introduce him briefly today before we get into this conversation. He loves to help entrepreneurs win big, scaling their businesses by 7 to 9 figures even. So he's an expert in the area of helping people to become branded thought leaders and scaling their practice, as well as an international best-selling author and a host of 2 podcasts as well. So, Nicky, I want to thank you for joining me today. Let me start by asking you this. In regards to entrepreneurship, what is your foundation in that regard? Where's your background as a business owner or somebody who started a business?
Well, Zach, first of all, thanks for having me on the show, and
Absolutely.
really honored to be here. I'll tell you my backstory. I'm originally an immigrant from the Middle East. I'm a Christian from Iran. When I was 11 years old, the Islamic Revolution took place in Iran, and my world got turned upside down. My late father, God rest his soul, he could see the writing on the wall. This wasn't going to be a great place to raise his Christian family. So what he did was he made a plan, he executed it, he got us out of Iran, and we settled where I now live, Toronto, Ontario, Canada. Now, as an 11-year-old, I was not happy to be leaving my friends, my home. But in retrospect, it was the greatest thing he could have done for us, because he took us from tyranny to freedom. And, there's a lot of people that live in the West today that don't realize how amazing it is to live in a free society. And unfortunately, they don't have their eye on that. And that's not a good thing. And I'm here to say freedom rocks. Freedom's amazing. We should all be grateful that we're here. And my late father was an entrepreneur, and he was an uplifter of human beings. And here is what he would do. If he knew you and you were looking for work, he'd help you find a job. If he knew you and you were looking to start a business, he'd help you start a business. If he knew you and you were looking to buy a car, a house, an apartment, and you didn't quite have enough money, he would top you up so you could buy that car, that house, or that apartment. Who does that, man? Who does that? Well, the late, great Napoleon Billou, for one. And why would he do that? Well, he would do it because, first and foremost, he was a devout Christian. He believed that he'd been, blessed by God, and it was his duty to share those blessings with other people. But secondly, he did it because he was rich. He could do it. I wanted to be like him. I wanted to help people. I wanted to uplift people. I wanted to help people. And the way that I went about doing this, was really, really very straightforward. I got into business. And I was in the helping professions. So I was a top fitness trainer. I worked with a lot of Olympic gold medalists, and, I also worked with a lot of billionaires and folks like that. And then I got into business. And here's what I saw. There's a lot of good people in business. They're really good at what they do, but they're not so good at business. They don't understand marketing, selling, financial statements, exit strategies, customer service. They just don't get any of that stuff. And so what happened was that really straightforwardly is I saw, especially sales was an issue. There's good people, right? They would not go after business because they didn't want to be seen as pushy or salesy. They didn't want to be that fuller brush salesperson. I got this, I got this, I got this. Right. And the truth of the matter is that, because of that, these folks wouldn't get business they should be getting. And some charlatan marketer would come in and scoop the business. And that was bad for everybody. It's bad for the person who could have gotten the business because their business suffers. It's bad for the client because a good person doesn't help them out. It's even bad for the charlatan marketer because karma's a bitch and it'll come and bite you in the butt at some point.
Yep.
And I thought, I can help these people. So how do I do that? Well, my father used to say to me always, you only get nervous if you're putting the attention on you.
Yeah.
You're never nervous if you're putting the attention on the other person, right?
Yeah.
And that's someone's brother, someone's father, someone's son, right? Someone's daughter, someone's mother, someone's wife.
Yep.
You got to just treat them like a human being, right? And if you come from that perspective, then you will have an opportunity to be of service to them.
Yeah.
And you just got to remember, business is about solving problems for people for profit.
Yep.
PPP, problems, people, profit,
yep.
right? And we really just started to focus on helping good people, not sell, but serve.
Okay.
Right? Because you don't want to be sold. I don't want to be sold, but we all love to be served by a good, caring human being, a caring advocate. So that's kind of the first step we took. And that's what allowed us to help a lot of people make a lot of money.
Yeah. So you came as an expert in an industry and had success as an expert in an industry in the area of fitness. And were able to take things that you saw from your own father and from others and see some of those areas that other business owners were lacking and be able to then start with those foundations. I mean, with of course sales being a big primary one, I can definitely relate to that feeling. I had been at one point a telemarketer. Honestly, I didn't believe in the product we were selling. That's a challenge there. But I felt like I was just pushing for the sale, not serving the people that I was contacting and engaging with. And so starting with that service mindset is a great foundation. So when you are approached by individuals who are seeking guidance and they maybe just an intro call with you and they want to know a little bit more about what you would provide for them, what kind of support and direction you would give to them, what are some of those key areas that you focus on? I mean, sales being an area that you've mentioned, but what are some of those key areas that you provide advice on and support with?
Well, obviously, the market's changed right now. We're in a recession, right?
Yeah.
There's a lot of scared people out there. And it's very important for us to understand that your message has to be really tight and sharp and dialed in, right?
Yeah.
If your message isn't good, if you sound like everybody else, that doesn't really work. And people need to understand that people don't buy their way into your program. They buy their way out of the pain and struggle that they're faced with.
Yeah.
And if somebody is in that kind of point of view in their life that, let me tell you about my program. It does this, it does that. We're the biggest, we're the best, we're the greatest. Yeah. No. You gotta find out what is the problem that the person you're speaking to dealing with, and is it the kind of problem that you deal with?
Yeah.
And remember, problems, people, profit, right? You gotta solve problems for people, and then you earn the right to make a profit. That's the purpose of business.
Yeah.
Acute problems for amazing people give you the right to earn an awesome profit. That really, at the end of the day, is what it's all about. And I had a client. He was a personal fitness trainer. Okay.
Yep.
And he was not making a lot of money. He's a good dude, really good dude, but he was making maybe $1,800 a month on a good month. Sure. And when he came to me, I asked him. His name was Dan. I said, "So, Danny, what do you do? Who do you help?" Man, I can help anybody, man. What? I can help anybody. Lose weight, get fit. I can help anybody. And I was like, no, that's not going to work.
Yeah.
And I said, you need to narrow your focus. He goes, okay. Doctors. Where'd you come up with doctors? He goes, oh, my dad's a doctor. I go, okay. And they make a lot of money. And I'm like, okay, no.
Okay.
That's not a good message.
Yeah.
So he didn't listen. He went after them. No results to speak of.
Yep.
And I said, Danny, we got to change your messaging. He goes, okay. Cardiologist. Why cardiologist? They make more money than doctors. I'm like, oh my God, no, Danny, that's not gonna work. Oh, no.
All right.
And I'm gonna do it. Okay, he goes and he does
Yeah.
it. No results to speak of. Then serendipity brings him in touch with this fella who was how can I put it, a Paralympian, a fellow with a missing limb.
Okay.
And
Yep.
Danny started working with him, and they really hit it off. And he got this guy great results. He won some medals at some competitions, and then he came back to me and he goes,
Nice.
"Oh, Nicky, I'm a fool. I'm an idiot." And I go, "Why do you say that?" He says, "Well, I've just been going after the money." I go, "Yeah, you have." And he said, "I should be going." Yep, that's what you should be doing. And he said, "Okay,
Yep.
well, I want to help people with missing limbs. I know how to help them." I go, "That's a great idea." And brother, in 6 weeks, he signed up 400 clients. 400
Wow.
clients. He
Wow.
went from making $1,800 a month to making like that an hour. Like he was making over 6 figures a month.
Wow.
In like 6 weeks. And that's because he stopped trying to make money. He started trying to help people who are hurting.
Yep. Wow. No, that very clearly aligns with what you've described, finding out what that problem is that you are trying to help people with, serving people, and then along with that will come profit. But you have to start with that problem and helping to serve people. So I really like that story. I appreciate that. And so with that as an example, so you had been a personal trainer, and at some point, did you make that decision, or how did that decision come?
Well, I was just being a fitness coach, and I
Yep.
wanted to move on to using more of my talents. I felt like I wasn't using enough of them. And
Sure.
I don't know, maybe someone listening to this can relate, right? Like you're
Yep.
meant for more. And I felt I was meant for more. And if you're meant for more, it's time to take a step. And I'll tell you another story. And this is beware who you follow. You need good mentorship.
Okay.
But there's this really great lady. When I met her, she was in her late 50s, and she was a coach, and she was working with people, but she wasn't getting any traction.
Yep.
And so I came to her. I was introduced to her, and I realized what was wrong with what she was doing. The crap that was what people sold her, and she told me she spent $125,000 on programs that didn't deliver any result. Zero. Like you think about that. It's insane. Her husband went to her and said, "Honey, you're spending us in the poorhouse. Come on." And I'm like, wow. So she started to work with us, and she comes to me. She goes, "This better work." And I'm like,
yeah. Okay.
It'll work. But I'm like, okay, we better really make sure we help her out. And her messaging was not about how she helped people.
Yeah.
So we helped her fix the message. We told her, stop doing all this crap these charlatans want you to do.
Yeah.
Start doing what we're telling you to do. And within a very short period of time, she went from basically making under $500 a month to making $52,000. But you can tell if someone's for real and if someone's good. Like your gut will tell you. Your gut's gonna go, I like this person, I trust this person. But your gut's gonna go, something's off about this person, and you should listen to it. You should really listen to your gut. It's usually right.
Yeah. Right. Yeah, that personal referral from somebody who's actually worked with someone definitely is a big factor. I agree with that. I honestly have seen some concerning reviews from people, but I've also seen some glaringly positive reviews, and I've also questioned whether some of those weren't written by somebody who was paid to write them, so which is hard to sometimes get through. But your gut, people plus being able to do some searching on the internet. Absolutely agree with that. Now, if somebody comes to you and they say, I really have tried. I've tried working with others and in the past, and it has really not proven successful. I think that person you just spoke about is a great example. Somebody who had spent $125,000, because that's what we're told to do. We're told to get out there. You're going to spend money to make money. You need to work with a coach. You need to work with a mentor. It's going to cost you something. but it's going to multiply your income. How do you reassure someone in that scenario that you are the real deal, that you are able to help support them and deliver on what you are essentially promising, because you stand behind it?
So listen, that's a good question, but here's the thing, right?
Yeah.
I don't know that me reassuring somebody is really going to be what they need, because I have a vested interest in putting myself forward in the best light. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And it's not just me, it's anybody in this position. And
Yeah.
so, yes, you can count on me to say, I'll do great for you. I'll help you get the results you want. Of course I will. And I stand behind what I say 1,000%.
Yeah.
But at the end of the day, if you don't know me and you've just met me or we've had a couple of conversations, really it's difficult for you to take that at face value, even if it's meant sincerely. You know what I mean?
Right. Yep.
I would trust yourself.
Yeah.
You're interacting with me. Your inner guidance system is telling you all sorts of things about me right now. So you're going, oh, he's wearing a black T-shirt with a little bit of yellow showing on the arm. Hey, he's got a mustache and a bit of a beard. Interesting. Okay, he's got he's got a good haircut. Okay, so he looks like a businessman, but he didn't dress quite like a businessman. I like how he speaks. He's a little intense. All these things are going through your inner guidance system all at once. And your inner guidance system is continuously evaluating. Do I like this guy? Do I not like this guy? And you got to just trust all that input.
Yeah.
You, not me. Because I can tell you, oh, yeah, I've done all these great things. I'm telling you all these stories with people. And I'll tell you one last story to wrap things up, because I got a really good story to finish this off with. But at the end of the day, Zach, if your gut just said, yeah, this Nicky Billou guy, I like him. I like the cut of his jib. I like how he rolls. Then you should trust that. And if your inner guidance system is telling you the opposite, then you should definitely trust that too, man. Whatever it's telling you, just go with it. Me, when I'm looking to make a major decision, like an investment decision, I want to know a few things. First of all, is this person for real? Do they know how to solve the problem I'm looking to have solved? Right. That's super important. Right. And if the answer to all that is yes, okay, terrific, great. Second question that I have in that regard is, do they have a track record with people that I can easily follow up with?
Yeah.
Okay, great. They do. All right, great. I can go check this out. No problem. And then the third thing I want to do is just have a conversation with them. And I'm just going to ask them flat out, look, I have problem X. I want to solve it. Do you believe that I can solve this problem with your help? I want a straight yes or no.
Yep.
And if the guy shows confidence, yes, I can solve it. I've done this for people. And I've got all those other things lining up behind me, I'll go for it. I hired a guy like that just a couple of months ago.
Yep. Okay. So taking that simple approach to walk through a few things, trusting yourself, asking direct questions, you can come to that conclusion. It's not going to be the same for everybody. So I agree with that fully. Okay. Well, you want to hear this. So you mentioned another story in regards to kind of some experiences that you've had there too. I'd love to hear that. I have just one other question that we'll get to that I'd like to ask all the guests. It's my $1 million question, but I think we'll get to that after the story. So I'd love to hear that.
So about 5 years ago, I was introduced to someone who had been the country director for Canada for one of the world's oldest and largest personal development firms.
Okay.
She was incredible. and she was in growth mode. So she brought on somebody to help her run the company, whom she thought was very talented.
Yeah.
And at first, they really hit it off, got along, made good things happen. It was kind of like Steve Jobs back in the day with John Scully when he brought him on
Okay.
to Apple.
Yep.
And just like Steve and John, after about a year, their visions of the future just diverged. And she was kicked out of her own company. Like, think about this.
Okay.
How do you get kicked out of your own company? It's
Right.
very possible when you have a board of directors, right?
Yep.
And so she was lost. She was bereft. She didn't know what to do. And she came to me through some friends. And I saw this was a good person. I work with my better half in my business. And I just said, okay, I can help you. And, we helped her get her message dialed in, her target market, her ideal client. And then we helped her go out there and get business. So, she in her first month, she made $10,000 in sales. In her second month, she made $12,000 in sales. In her third month, she made $18,000 in sales. But in her fourth month, man, she crushed it. She made $62,200 in sales. It was incredible.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah, it was great. It was great. So, anyways, long story short is she was doing really well. She lives in Ottawa, and I live in Toronto. That's a 5-hour drive. And my oldest son, he plays soccer. He had a tournament in Ottawa.
Yep.
And so, anyways, we drove to Ottawa for the tournament, and on the way there, I called her up and I said, "Hey, you got a son my boy's age. We're coming to Ottawa for a tournament. You guys want to come, hang out, watch some games, and grab lunch?" And she said, "Yeah, sure, let's do it." So it was great. My son's team won the tournament. We watched some games, had lunch. Then she and her boy, they drove back to their house, and we drove back to Toronto. A few weeks later, we had our quarterly branded thought leader immersion workshop. This is where we meet with people to help them take their business to the next level, add a 0 or 2 to their business. And so we had gotten to the point where we did the upsell, right? The upserve, as I like to call it, right? So we show people how they can sign up with us for a year and beyond. And it's a big ticket program.
Sure.
And the way I do it is I let our people share their experience.
Yeah.
So I'm going, who'd like to share? And before I can pick anybody, she bounds up on stage and almost knocks me down, right?
Yeah.
Whoa. I'm like, all right. She says, go ahead. So she looks at everybody and she starts to cry.
Okay.
I cry, bawl like a little baby. And I'm like, why is she crying? When a man sees a woman cry, he always thinks it's his fault, right? I must have done something wrong, right? So, but then my lady comes up with the tissue box and, she wipes her nose and all that jazz. And, anyways, long story short, what that one was, she turns around to me and she goes, "Nicky, you didn't know this." And she's snobbing, sniffling, all that jazz, right? But when you and your little son came to visit me and my little son, my little boy asked me, Mommy, who are we going to go meet? And I said, "Oh, sweetheart, we're going to go meet Nicky Billou and his son." The little kid all of a sudden gets super quiet and goes, "Oh, Mommy, are we going to go meet the man who saved our family?" Like, yo, Zach. Dude, I'm old school. I don't cry in public, but I cry.
Yeah.
And she said, "You didn't know this, but the bank was about to foreclose on our home. We hadn't paid our mortgage in months. My husband and I, we were fighting every single day, like cats and dogs in front of our 3 little kids. I thought we were going to break up. I was going to lose my precious family. You helped us turn it around and save our family." So everyone in the room just clapped and they hugged. And brother, we passed out the registration forms.
Yeah.
Normally, some people sign up, some people don't. and some people want to talk, right?
Yep.
On that day, everybody signed up on the spot. That has never, ever happened before.
Sure. Right.
And I couldn't have made it happen by planning it. This was unscripted, unplanned. And what it showed me was, I'm a good person. I sincerely want to help people win. And what I did for this woman helped her win, helped her reconstitute her family in health.
Right.
If I go to my grave, brother, there's a list of things that will say, hey, Nicky Billou did this, 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 and this for these people. And that's a good thing, man. That's a fantastic thing.
Absolutely. Yeah, when you start with service, it doesn't just change the life in their financial life, but you in this example, and I'm certain there are others, whether they expressed it or not, you made a profound difference in the lives of them individually as well as their families in the moment and long into the future. So yeah, no, that's a very strong testimony to hear, and powerful to know the results that you can make in an individual's life, and again, not just in their lives but in the lives of them that surround them as well. So well, if we get to the $1 million question, before we get to that, I just wanted to ask if anybody did want to reach out to you and to connect, what's the best way for someone to connect to you?
Depends on for what reason, but if they just want to check out my work, I recommend you go to Amazon.com and type in my name, Nicky Billou. I've got all my books and my podcasts there. So the books are a low investment way and the podcasts are free. So just go ahead and I would do that just to do that. But if you're in business or you are looking to get into business and you're serious about taking some steps to get to that next level, add a 0, 2 zeros, 3 zeros to your income, then go to eCircleacademy.com/appointment and get on my calendar and let's have a chat.
Yeah. Okay. Absolutely. And we'll add that into the show notes as well, so that individuals can reach out should they want to connect. But yeah, I'd encourage people to check out the podcast, check out the books, and get to know a little bit more about the good work that Nicky's doing and serving other people. Now, the $1 million question, as we wrap things up, if you were to be handed $1 million today, no restrictions, what would you do? What would you do with that, and why?
$1 million?
Yeah.
I'd pay off my mortgage, zero it out.
Yep.
I'd take $500,000 and invest it in something that pays out cash.
Yeah.
And I'd take the rest and find ways to invest in my business. And I put like $20,000 or $30,000 of it aside to just go take some vacations and have some fun. But that's what I do.
Absolutely. We all need that as well. So at that longer term perspective too, though, and that investing both present and in your business too. Well, it's clear you are a server of people. I think that you started this with the fact that you came to Canada from a country that was facing persecution because of religion, as a Christian. And being a Christian, we're called to have a servant's heart. So that's evident as we have this conversation today. So I want to thank you for that, and thank you for sharing some of your stories and experiences you've had and your time. So appreciate it.
Thanks for having me on the show, Zach.